Thanks for joining the webinar today. I'm Chris Villamay with NetBrain Technologies. I'm joined here by Chris Lopez, who will run some live demonstrations for us in a little while. Today we're going to talk about our new NetBrain app for ServiceNow. Version 2.0 of the NetBrain app is available today for download via the ServiceNow App Store. This is a free app and available to any ServiceNow user. Our NetBrain app has been fully certified by the ServiceNow team. Once the app is installed within ServiceNow, all remaining integration and configuration steps can be performed by a NetBrain administrator without the need to involve the ServiceNow admins. Using the NetBrain app for ServiceNow, integration is accomplished quickly and easily with a GUI-driven plug-and-play configuration. So you'll be up and running with integrated NetBrain automation in no time. We've been making some huge strides towards integrating NetBrain more seamlessly into your existing IT operations management workflow. With this app release, we've truly reached a milestone. So, why does ITSM need NetBrain's adaptive automation? An ITSM framework is built to achieve cost savings and to improve productivity across IT teams through process automation. However, several critical challenges for network operations remain with ITSM. First, there is a lack of visibility of the underlying network infrastructure. As we know, IT problems are sometimes network problems and sometimes not. However, many IT problems will start first with a network investigation. For the non-network teams, the network may be a mystery, something to blame when problems arise as the most likely candidate. Next, we lack details in ITSM tickets. Once an IT ticket is raised, an investigation must occur. However, often we have very little data to start with, sometimes nothing more than a source and destination IP address for a problematic application flow. The first responding engineer will therefore have a fair amount of triage work before they can even provide an initial assessment of the problem, where it's located, what's affected, and potential causes. Third, there is no integrated network automation within ITSM. So IT service management is ultimately about solving problems efficiently and restoring impacted business services as quickly as possible. However, without integrated network automation, the diagnosis is manual, sequential, and very time-consuming. Integrated network automation therefore provides the missing piece for IT teams within the ITSM framework. What does NetBrain automation provide for ServiceNow workflows? As we know, operationally it is becoming increasingly more difficult to document, troubleshoot, and secure your network across its vast size and complexity. What's the conclusion? Well, the current way we run our network operations simply isn't sustainable anymore. We need to be more efficient. We need a better way of managing our NetOps and managing our incident response. With NetBrain integration with ServiceNow, the following values are provided for all IT teams. Note that these values apply not just to network operations teams, but to all IT teams. First, we can now enrich every IT ticket with a just-in-time dynamic map. This provides a contextual view of the problem area, enabling engineers to more quickly jump into advanced diagnostic work. Secondly, NetBrain's ServiceNow app can trigger automated diagnosis using NetBrain's Executable Runbook technology. This capability enables a problem triage performed at the moment of the event, collecting critical diagnostics that may potentially clear before investigation begins, such as in the case of transient issues. Third, the NetBrain app greatly facilitates collaboration across all IT teams, offering a shared view of the network and problem area and a collaborative workspace to collect, analyze, and review diagnostic data. To better understand how NetBrain automation integrated with ServiceNow can augment and accelerate incident response, we'll start with a look at a typical incident response workflow. We can refer to this as a human-centric incident response workflow. This workflow is composed of 3 phases: detect, identify, and fix. The first phase is the event itself, when a fault is detected by a monitoring and event management system. Typically, there is idle time immediately after ticket generation and before a first response engineer gets involved. Also, as noted previously, the details in a ticket may be sparse. What happened, where, and why, and what is the current state? Our first response engineer is blind, so now they must manually investigate ticket by ticket, device by device, one CLI at a time. It's like looking for a needle in a haystack, and this is where we lose the most time. The identify phase can take potentially hours. Next, the first responders may need to escalate the incident involving more people with more knowledge, but they are still lacking detail, and the escalation handoff may be inefficient. Finally, we have a fix, but will it be pushed out safely and with proper verification? So here we introduce a fourth phase within incident response, the post-mortem or proactive phase. This phase is critical to ensuring that we do better next time. After it's all done and we are back up and running, the teams rarely spend enough time reviewing what went wrong, learning and improving for next time so that they can identify the issue proactively or reduce downtime from lessons learned. So as you can see, there are plenty of opportunities for introducing automation throughout this workflow. But where do we start? Let's see what happens now when we introduce automation to our workflow. So here we have our monitoring and event management systems integrated with a network automation platform so that when a fault is detected, all of the critical data related to the crime scene is captured and an initial automated diagnosis is triggered through an automated first response. All of the information is embedded in a ticket. Now, if we need to involve another engineer, they will be far better armed. They can see exactly what happened, where, and why, and understand the current state. If it is necessary to escalate to another team, then the engineer can share all of this information from one pane of glass, even overlaying information from other tools or data sources. This accelerates the whole process, reducing problem identification to minutes rather than hours, perhaps giving time back to the teams to think about how to improve next time and taking these lessons learned, embedding that information into executable runbooks that can be deployed earlier in the process the next time a similar fault is detected. It is a level of automation that over 2,500 NetBrain customers today experience as they systematically and continuously reduce MTTR using NetBrain's adaptive automation. Let's now take a moment to look at the NetBrain platform in a little more detail. So at this point, I want to introduce you to NetBrain's automation technologies before showing you how they function within incident response automation. Designed to scale automation for any issue on any network, no matter how complex, we leverage two powerful technologies. The first is a dynamic map used to abstract the entire network. This automates visibility. Each dynamic map is created instantly to help define the scope of an issue. That map is then used to visualize any data about the network that may be useful. Topology data, configuration and design data, baseline data across thousands of data points, even data from a third-party solution integrated with NetBrain. The dynamic map therefore becomes your launch pad for network automation. The second technology is Executable Runbook automation. This is used to codify operational knowledge within an IT team. As teams resolve each outage, of course their tribal knowledge grows. So we can take that knowledge, document it into a runbook. Then, as the name implies, these runbooks are made fully executable. The automation is built with simple drag and drop programming. This is automation that scales across any network and technology. The idea here is to write once, execute anywhere. By doing this, we start to codify that tribal or expert knowledge and put it into a tool that anyone can use. NetBrain's ServiceNow app enables seamless integration to existing IT operational workflows. We do not need ServiceNow to adapt to NetBrain, as NetBrain instead adapts to ServiceNow using the NetBrain app. NetBrain integrates dynamic map and executable runbook technologies directly into ServiceNow to solve today's ITSM challenges for NetOps and provides the following capabilities. Auto capture the crime scene of every IT incident and enrich each ticket with a dynamic map. Automate a best first response diagnosis for well-known problems. So now our first response engineer is on the scene, reviewing the crime scene map and collected diagnostics, leveraging interactive automation to gather more data to perform baseline analysis and to drill down to isolate root cause. NetBrain auto-documents the full incident response investigation within the ServiceNow ticket, enabling better collaboration and visibility for all of IT during problem investigation. So now root cause has been determined and a fix is deployed and verification performed using NetBrain automation. A big value here is the fact that the documented network change is now embedded into the same incident ticket with all data and information in one place. Lastly, we go proactive. We take the diagnostic steps and necessary data and codify it, recording it as an executable runbook, so that should a similar issue occur in the future, NetBrain automation can isolate the cause automatically. NetBrain's philosophy is that no incident ticket should be touched by a human before automation has first done its job. We enabled triggered automation to capture the crime scene of every IT incident, defining the scope of the issue and capturing critical diagnostics using NetBrain's dynamic map and executable runbook. Additionally, NetBrain for ServiceNow parses an ever-growing library of known problems proactively added to the system by the team's network engineers, providing known problem diagnostic automation. Triggered automation enables us to resolve transient issues, to enrich every ServiceNow IT ticket, and to reduce mean time to repair by moving more and more incidents over time into a known problem category, thereby reducing the time to repair these recurring known problems to near zero. Now let's see where triggered automation fits within our incident response workflow. Here we see in the flow where these two NetBrain automations, capture the crime scene and known problem diagnosis, kick in. So that was a bit of stuff to absorb. Let's now get a practical look at the solution with a demo for triggered automation. Over to you, Chris.
Thanks, Chris. Let's take a look at this application in the context of an active network problem. You can see here that we're in the ServiceNow demo pane. I'm going to generate a ticket based on an incident that occurred at my company, and we'll see how NetBrain immediately triggers multiple maps. Like Chris was mentioning, this is going to be a map of the problem area and other known problems associated with devices in the path. So for this scenario, imagine that I work for a company that just had a very choppy, visually degraded teleconference. We're not sure why this has happened, but we're going to use our new application to help us troubleshoot it. I'm going to start by going over ticket elements that I filled out already. And there are several important details here. First, I've selected the Cisco Telepresence Business Service, and I've also specified a configuration item. This router, PIMRP, is a core router for a number of business applications, so it makes sense that I would submit this one into the ticket. Finally, I've put some relevant device information into the ticket as well, like the laptop IP and the nature of the issue, which is video slowness. Now that these have been filled out, I'm going to submit the ticket and let NetBrain Automation do the rest. All right, once we access the ticket, we see several maps appear under the NetBrain Automation tab. The one with the lightning bolt is our crime scene map. This is the application path that was calculated using both the business service and the individual laptop's IP. As we click in, we'll be able to see an arc of network devices between the client device and the Cisco Telepresence server. This represents a problem area that we'll need to investigate in order to resolve our issue. The map with the siren here is our known problem map. This map is triggered based on the configuration item that we specified earlier. Any existing problems associated with that device will appear here as known problem maps. In this instance, we can see that PIMRP has experienced some kind of firmware bug in the past. This represents existing network know-how and experience that's brought into the fold as part of our troubleshooting exercise. And all of this information was generated the moment the incident was created. It's easy to see how this application can expedite troubleshooting when it provides every ServiceNow user with a map-driven troubleshooting platform. Well, that covers NetBrain's first response diagnostics with the new ServiceNow app. I'll hand control back to Chris, and he's going to go over the next stage of this troubleshooting process. All yours, Chris.
Thanks, Chris. That was really cool. So NetBrain automation integrated with ServiceNow greatly enhances your incident response collaboration. NetBrain helps to eliminate finger pointing and enables collaboration with other IT teams during problem investigation. The embedded dynamic map becomes your documentation mechanism tracking all aspects of incident investigation. Enhanced collaboration within network teams, between IT and network teams, and during any problem escalation. We record and share all troubleshooting steps and diagnostics linked to an embedded NetBrain dynamic map within ServiceNow. So back to our workflow diagram. As you see, collaboration falls within interactive automation, as one or more engineers may be utilizing the shared console, adding notes, diagnostics, and drilling down to root cause. Additionally, after the fix is found, we leverage interactive automation to push out the change to the necessary network devices. We verify the fix from within ServiceNow using the embedded dynamic map without need to leave ServiceNow or to log into the NetBrain platform itself. So let's go back to Chris for another demo. This one to see firsthand how interactive automation improves collaboration and incident response. Over to you again, Chris.
All right, let's hop back into it. At the ticket that we generated, we're going to go through the entire span of interactive automation, like first engineer response, incident escalation, and remediation, all the while adding notes, maps, and diagnostic results to the ServiceNow ticket. As Chris was mentioning earlier, we're accessing NetBrain functionality through ServiceNow, and everything that I'm doing here is available to all ServiceNow users, not just licensed NetBrain users. I'm going to start with the crime scene map, which is the problem area that we need to investigate. And right now, I'm taking the role of a help desk engineer who's received this ticket. Having seen this path, I'd like to trigger one of NetBrain's data views across it. So I'll select the overall health check here. This is a built-in data view that's going to check each device for common indicators of performance issues like CPU and memory utilization, input-output errors, and link status. NetBrain is running this check across all devices currently active on the dynamic map. Doesn't look like any alerts have come in from the results. I mean, nothing's turned red, but I can go in and look at the CPU and memory utilization per device. And also, as I go up, I'll be able to see more information displayed on the links between the network devices. But otherwise, it seems like our network devices are healthy for the most part, at least on the surface. I'll access the column on the right, and I'll leave a note that says, ran the overall health check. Doesn't look like anything's wrong with these devices. Also, I'll raise attention to this, so that way it's the first thing that anyone sees when they start accessing the crime scene map. Next, I'm going to check out the known problem map. This is going to be investigating existing problems associated with our configuration item PIMRP. According to the note here, a few processes on the iOS router have caused high CPU utilization in the past. This note here does specify affected releases, though, for the affected firmware versions, 15.2.2 and 15.2.371S. According to the live data pulled from the router, it's running version 15.6, meaning that this issue has already been patched. So I'll leave another note here that says, looks like we already patched this, not relevant to the current issue. And I'll raise attention to this one as well. As I mentioned earlier, I'm just the help desk employee performing first response to this issue. In order to take a closer look at this environment in NetBrain, I'm going to need the assistance of a network engineer who has access to it. The last thing I'll do here is, as the help desk engineer, is create a new section and leave a note asking for assistance. So I'll use at network team just to represent whichever person will get called into this. Can you help us take a closer look at the application path? And I'll raise attention to that as well. Now, instead of a help desk engineer, I'm going to play the role of the network engineer who's been asked to help diagnose this issue. After looking over the two maps, I can see that whatever is wrong with this device requires a more intensive look at the environment. So I'm going to hop directly into NetBrain using this link. So here in this map, I'm not just going to be performing an advanced diagnosis, I'm also going to be linking this map back into NetBrain so that way anyone else looking at the ticket can see what I'm doing. For this application path, I'm going to go ahead and run a specific data view. I'm going to run a QoS monitor. The reason being is that I've been hunting down a lot of transient issues in this network, and a lot of them have been related to QoS. So just to rule it out, or just to maybe identify it, let's go ahead and run the QoS monitor here. So this is going to be taking place over time. Obviously, it needs a few minutes to collect the data. But while it does that, I'm going to save this map and I'll link it back into the ticket. So here where it says no map, I can simply paste the NetBrain map link, and every user who has access to this will be able to see it, really improving the collaborative elements of the entire troubleshooting process. In fact, I'll be able to even look at the results inside of this. So here at policy interface, or show policy map interface, it looks like here we actually are experiencing a drop rate specifically on voice gateway router 1. That's tipping me off that that's probably what's causing all of this slowness, or all the degraded video that occurred during our teleconference. So at this point, I'm going to say at help desk, it looks like this router is dropping traffic. We'll look into it and apply a fix. So here, I'm going to add one more section. This is going to be the map where I link the change. So I'm going to go ahead and save this map as a new map. We'll call it QoS upgrade. And I will initiate a network change here on the map. So we'll go ahead to network change templates, to QoS policy CIR upgrade. It's a template that I've already defined for this situation. And I would go ahead and append this change to voice gateway router 1. So here, at this point, I would leave a note on the map explaining what was happening. So we'll say QoS policy upgrade. And I would say we're upgrading a QoS policy on this router, which has been dropping traffic. All right. At this point, I'll save it again. We'll link this back into the map. And we'll go to the ticket. So here, the users will be able to see that we've not only identified this issue, as we can see with this first collaboration map, but they'll also be able to see the change that we're attempting to modify this device with. All right, that covers most of the troubleshooting process here, at least the parts for interactive automation. There is one more stage to go, and I'm going to let Chris introduce that himself. Back to you, Chris.
Thanks again, Chris. That was a great look into some powerful capabilities. So we constantly ask the question, how can we do better next time? In codifying knowledge from past incidents, NetBrain automation improves the first response for every new incident. Easily add known issues to a known issue library using NetBrain's no-code approach. This enables the shifting of increasingly more tickets to zero human touch, and works to continuously reduce MTTR year after year. So how does this actually work? Here we have a simplified incident response workflow. To go proactive and shift the workloads downstream, we do the following. Build our known problem library, enrich the tracked network baselines within NetBrain, and add more trigger rules within the NetBrain app for ServiceNow for more triggered automation. For the proactive automation, we can see here where it fits within the incident response workflow. As you can see, NetBrain automation applies to every step of the process, from the moment of the event start to the post-mortem application of lessons learned. So this will be our last demo. We're going to look at proactive automation. Back to you, Chris.
Thanks, Chris. All right, guys, let's bring it home. We've gone through the triggered automation maps that NetBrain provided once we created the incident. We've gone and identified the root cause of the issue, and we've applied a QoS upgrade to the problem device. There's only one thing left to do, which is take the lessons that we learned here and apply them to the next issue that's going to come down the pipe. I'm going to show you how to turn a map here into a known problem map that'll get triggered the next time we have an issue associated with this device. So I'm going to go back to the third map that we generated, the one where the network engineer took over and performed an advanced diagnosis. And what I'm going to do is I'll save this as a known problem map. So we'll go here, save this as well-known problem, bad QoS policy. I'm going to move this device into the known problem folder. And then I'll do a little bit of stencil work in order to make this look like the first well-known problem that popped up. So we'll go here, we'll go to bad QoS policy, and I'll move this to known problems, applications, and Cisco telepresence. All right, and the last thing I'm going to need to do is apply a stencil to this. We'll fill it in with red, and I'll leave a note here that explains that there was a bad QoS policy. And in the notes, it's not too important. We'll just say QoS team needs to redesign the QoS policies here and also maybe across the rest of the network as well. All right, and with that, we have successfully created a well-known problem map. And just to show you that this is in place, I'm going to go back to the original ticket, and I'm going to copy this. So now instead of ticket 166, we're at ticket 170, and I'm going to submit this. The reason I'm doing this is that we've had an issue associated with PIM-RP. Since that map also contains PIM-RP, we should see that same well-known problem pop up here as well, and it looks like it has. We've triggered the same map again. We've triggered the Cisco bug that we saw earlier, but also we've triggered the well-known problem map that we just created as well. All right, that's everything on my end. So I'm going to pass this back to Chris Villame. All yours, Chris.
Thanks, Chris. That was great. This is truly a powerful system for adaptive incident response automation. Installation of the NetBrain app is extremely easy. Simply download the NetBrain app from ServiceNow store and install to your ServiceNow instance. Next, completing the integration is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Set up the connector from ServiceNow to NetBrain and complete the API integration configuration. And then build your automation templates and trigger rules, all from within the NetBrain app in ServiceNow. All configuration is GUI driven and can be completed in as little as 10 minutes. So ITSM combines with NetBrain's knowledge management and Runbook automation to achieve a much better incident response mechanism and continuous MTTR reduction. You can integrate NetBrain with ServiceNow to capture knowledge after every incident and create a closed-loop mechanism for continual improvement. Using ServiceNow and NetBrain and by applying triggered automation, interactive automation, and proactive automation, an organization can reduce MTTR continuously, build knowledge management for IT teams, shift knowledge and workloads to the left for reduced operational cost and improved team efficiency, and improve collaboration and reduce ticket escalations. Install the NetBrain app in your ServiceNow today and start enjoying the power of NetBrain automation for your ITSM workflows. That's the end of our webinar today. We'll stick around for questions for a while, so please keep those coming over the Q&A panel. Thanks again, everybody, and have a great day. Thank you.